Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of For the Fans. We are here. McKay is not with us. He is in a work thing at the moment, so sadly we will be missing him. But I don't know if I'm too sad about it. For the main reason is that I would not hear the end of his crap talking with our fantasy matchups, with the Jaguars Bears game. I'm kind of being saved a little bit right now.
All the above.
I beat him in one matchup, but I lost in another, and then my team lost this week, and it's gonna be ugly.
It was a rough one for me with our matchup between our little league. I had lots of people get hurt. It's like It's finally caught up.
Oh, I think I have one league where every single player except for like just one full lineup is injured right now.
Yeah,
It is. It is not great.
tough time. Very tough. Yeah, other than that, it's been a wild, wild weekend. Tell you that much. There's a lot of news to cover.
Yeah, I think we should dive into some of that news real quick. So
Right.
I think some of the bigger ones is that we had a few trades happen this week.
Right. And I feel like those could be in the woe category. And woes for the people that left.
Some people, it's
But
a wow because they're very happy with them.
right. Yeah, the first one I guess we could talk about real quick is Devonta Adams. Like everyone saw it coming. It's
I didn't want him to go to the Jets and be with Rodgers again. So here we are.
yeah. Yep. I feel like once the head coach went and got fired, I'm like, oh yeah, it's over. He's going to the Jets.
Here
It's
we
gonna
go.
happen. Yeah, it's gonna happen. Rodgers is officially in control.
I
And
think
Right.
then everyone's gonna
I think I sent a meme to the group that said Aaron Rodgers is currently the quarterback of the Jets, the GM of the Jets, and the owner of the Bears.
Yep. It's pretty accurate. It's very
uh,
It's an impressive job description.
yeah.
Man, imagine having all three of those jobs, which, Matt, I think you'll be a little bit happy, but also a little bit sad because your favorite guy has retired because.
Because he's a head coach?
No!
It's because he's the owner
Yeah, he's a partial
slash
owner,
coach
partial
and
owner of
GM.
the Raiders now, which I think the current Raiders owner was even saying, he's like, yeah, it's great to have Tom Brady in here. He's going to help us find a quarterback. I'm like, wow, this is
Yeah,
this is very
he's gonna do
interesting.
more than that. I tell you that much. Now that he's vested into the Raiders, yeah,
But my thing,
you're
But he
gonna
has
see a
like
lot of changes.
doesn't he have like a 5% share or something?
it's
Like
only like
isn't
a
it?
It's 10%. It's not a lot. He wanted more, but the other owners, the NFL, threw a fit because I don't know who the owner is right now, but he was gonna give him a discount. They're like, "F that! No, he has to pay this price, and all
uh,
he could get for that price is 10%."
I mean, I think I just never pictured Tom
It
Brady
happens.
owning a team named the Raiders. They were not on my radar. And now
Right?
I honestly don't know how much people expect him to do because part of me is like, he could be like, hey, I like this guy, or he could just kind of sit back and he's like, I'm just gonna collect money from this.
Yeah, that's probably part of it because that's a huge market down there. That's
Oh
probably
yeah.
the best moves the Raiders have ever done. Now, I think honestly, what's going to happen? Tom Brady will come in. Yeah, he only has a limited share, but I think they're going to give him the reins and be like, "Hey, we want your opinion. We want your advice." And honestly, I think he was maybe behind the push to get Devonte Adams out of there because he's probably just because of like the structure that he came from the Patriots and Tampa Bay. He doesn't want any BS going on. And if he has a
Right.
player that's a distraction and is just being an absolute pain to the team, I guarantee you that conversation was had. He's like, yeah, let him go. Like, do whatever we need to, get him out. I don't want to deal with that.
Oh,
So,
I get that. I think it was a good move for both teams. I
mhm,
think it's smart, frees up some of the how expensive, Devontae Adams is, and
right.
really hasn't contributed a whole lot to the Raiders. So even if he is a power player, why keep him?
Right.
Like move on, get some younger talent, start building from the bottom. There's no reason to have these expensive players if they're not going to do anything for you. They just look good for your franchise, but what does that actually do for you in the end?
Right. Exactly.
I think the Raiders were smart in the sense of they realized that they're entering a full-blown rebuild and they need to trade away their pricey players so that they can actually enter the full rebuild and build from the ground up.
Right. Now, the hot button topic, I don't know if my buddy's listening, but we've been talking about it all week. Will Max Crosby leave?
Oh, that's an interesting one. That one I think is to be determined.
Yeah, a couple of destinations that people throwing around would be huge. One of them,
What?
everyone's saying the Lions.
Really?
Oh,
Since
to
Aiden
replace
Hutchinson's
Hutch.
gone. He's
Do they
hurt.
have
He's
the-
out for the rest of the season.
Do they have the cap space for that?
You know, who knows? You know,
Oh
they can
boy.
kind of, that's another one that I think between this week's podcast and next week, I think that's one thing we keep an eye on. Or the other one I've seen, not to get too much into the trade talk, but Myles Garrett to the Lions.
I mean, yeah, the Lions actually have like top 5 cap space for this year and next.
Yep. So if they really wanted to replace him, but then also add another threat for next year, just in case, honestly, Myles Garrett would be disgusting on that Lions defense. Or, the reverse side, send him over to, the 49ers.
Gosh, no
Give
more.
Nick Bosa some help.
Ugh.
But again, who knows? Like the trade deadline's going to be, here in a couple weeks. I feel like if any of those big trades are going to happen, it's probably going to happen soon. But yeah,
Oh, and
I just
Does it feel like
don't get anybody.
Does it feel like the Browns are just clearing house
I think so.
a little bit?
a little
Because
bit.
that's kind of the vibe I'm getting, and I don't
Yeah.
know that it's a bad idea, but it's just like, huh?
Yeah, cash out when you can because you're locked in with your QB contract.
Aren't they
and
benching Deshaun Watson this week?
I'm not
Is
sure.
that what I've read? I feel like I read that.
Yeah, I know they should, but at the same time, is the backup that much better?
That's fair.
So
Okay, no, people are just
yeah.
talking about it, but
right, yeah,
right
it's
now,
probably
right now it is not official.
yeah, but yeah, we'll see.
All right,
We'll
let's
see
cover
how
our
that goes.
let's cover our last like big news, which was another trade, and also everyone knows the Hutchinson injury. The other
Right.
big trade that happened was that Amari Cooper got traded away from the Browns, and
Yeah.
he got traded to the Bills, giving Josh Allen a needed weapon. The Bills also dropped Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who could very easily go back to the Chiefs again.
Yes.
That'd be
Which-
interesting.
How everything went down last year, they probably wouldn't. And
Yeah,
how
I
they're going this
imagine
year.
not.
They need a blockbuster guy, if anything. But
I
Yeah.
mean,
I think this trade though really puts the Bills in a good position. If Cooper could come in and hit the ground running. If he
Yeah.
has no lag time, he can just do what he's always been doing in the NFL, being consistent, being there would help them immensely.
yeah, I mean, I think he's been mainly held back by Deshaun Watson, which I think everyone has.
Yeah.
But he's also a 30-year-old wide receiver in the NFL who we really haven't seen, I would say, extraordinary play from in at least 2 years,
Right.
in my opinion. So, I mean, how much can we blame on Deshaun Watson, and how much do we say, throwing him on a good team?
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be a benefit. That's definitely a place the Bills need some love. But is he going to be enough?
I definitely don't think he's going to be the it guy. Like, he will not be the go-to, but he will be a good second or third option when needed.
Right.
I mean, isn't
Right.
the current guy like Khalil Shakir?
Yeah.
Like
And the guy,
Keon Coleman doing nothing.
yeah. Who knows? With this extra with Cooper in there, who knows?
Right.
All right. So let's talk about our wows and our woes from this past week, which is mainly our matchups from the past week. Tyler, why don't you kick us off? We'll go from the reverse order and we'll skip McKay's.
Good. That's how I live my life, is just skipping McKay.
Yeah.
The heck with him.
Dump him.
So I picked the 49ers and the Seahawks, which, can I just say, super fun to see Deebo back to himself and playing ball. But also, I picked this as a super important game because I think we're seeing, I don't want to say the downfall of the Seahawks, but I think we're seeing more of the reality behind what started off as a undefeated team, right? And I still think all of these games that they have played have been against great teams that they've actually lost to, other than the Giants. I don't know what happened there, but I'm giving them the credit with the with the 49ers and the Lions. But
Right.
and I think we can all forgive, one bad game. But I think they've lost to still some good teams. So I think while they're maybe not a power team, I think they're still a good team. A
Right.
team that has, I think, still a pretty good chance of doing okay in their conference.
Right. And either one of these, the Seahawks or the Niners, either one will be I feel like will be number 1 and 2. One will be in the
Right.
playoffs, one will be wild card. That's just how it's gonna happen. It's just who's gonna be on top, which is a huge
Right.
advantage. Obviously, going down the road, if they ever meet in the playoffs, obviously home field advantage is always key. But I think this is also a really important game for the Niners, just because Seahawks are always a battle every year.
Oh yeah.
And I feel
Absolutely.
like them coming out with a win probably, gets that confidence back up.
Well, and this was the game that put them in the lead in their division, wasn't it? If I recall, because they
I
were
believe so.
2 and 3, and now they're tied. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Now they're tied 3-3 with the Seahawks, and they're leading the division because of their in division win. So obviously, this was a big game for them. We
Right.
have the division rivalry. We have, who's going to lead the division, but there's still more football to play.
Yeah, exactly. But definitely helps him out, and I think this is a good game to. Who knows if Brock Purdy's been struggling or not? I still think he's been playing really well, but he might just be struggling with the whole McCaffrey's gone. It has to be me. I feel like with Deebo Samuel's performance, it shows that, hey, I actually do have a lot of weapons. Like, let's air it out. Let's
Right.
get everyone involved instead of just going to Kittle the entire time.
Hey, I have no issues with him just going to Kittle. My
Right.
fantasy has loved George Kittle.
Right.
Saved my butt several times.
Yeah, but I think that would be key. And then, I get it. A lot of people are upset with what Ayuk did, but honestly, if they can get those 4 going between Jennings, Ayuk, Kittle, and Samuel for now, I think they'll be all right. Plus, Garendo. Yeah, I think that's how you say that. That's his name.
Right.
Something like that. He did really well too. So I think they're good enough to get him to the playoffs. It's just a matter of, can they improve enough to be a contender?
Exactly. I'd say
Right
at this
now
point,
they got a rough road.
yeah. Yeah. Definitely looking more like a wild card team than a team who's going to lead the division.
Right.
But once again, a lot more football to play. Who's to say? Maybe if they can figure out a few things. It seems like their passing game's been struggling, probably most of all. But
Yeah.
Anyway. So that was my wow and woe. Matt, you're what you got?
Okay, so we got mine. This is the first time I actually picked my team. I'm trying to not be like, oh, Patriots every week. Okay, so got that out of the way. And obviously the biggest talk of this game was Drake May. How would he perform? How would he handle things? I think he did really well. in this game. You know, he had C.J. Stroud on the other side of the Texans, which are a powerhouse. So there's no way they were going to win, but it proved that he can play against these better teams. You know, yeah, he threw a couple of picks, but I feel like
he had
if you give him some
flashes.
yeah, like it showed that he can handle being the quarterback for the Patriots. But it's the biggest gripe that I have is he has no weapons.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say your biggest gripe was he's gonna get murdered behind that offensive line.
No, well that's his
That
other
too.
concern. You know, that too. And that was like option 2, you know. But I feel like they saw that he can play. Now you got to have a conversation with your lineman and be like, don't F this up. You know, like we need to keep him healthy for next year. Because
I think Go ahead.
they're probably gonna get one of the first 3 picks again.
Right.
Like top 5, you know, I'm pretty sure. And they need to get weapons. Because I think if you give Drake May like 2 great receivers coming out of this draft class, get him like a good running back, the defense is still solid-ish. You could probably fill in a couple places. Plus their salary cap is going to be nuts next year. Get him some weapons, and I think you'll see him upgrade to a franchise quarterback.
Get some offensive
Oh,
line.
I totally. And I think there's some good weapons coming from college. I think there's some good options that he could take. And so it's just, will the Patriots have the common sense to not waste it on something stupid?
You guys want Travis Etienne?
Yeah, no.
I'm like, he's a great running back. He
Hard
just
pass.
needs an offensive line.
Hard pass, you know.
The interesting thing too is I'm very excited to compare him with Bo Nix over the next, this season, the next season. I think they're both coming from teams that are really struggling. They both kind of have a lack of weapons, and so it'll be fun to watch and see both of these QBs in both very similar situations and say, how are they going to respond? Obviously, I think Bo Nix has that little boost, and he's got a fantastic Broncos defense, but which didn't really show up last week. But it's
right.
It's still a little bit of an advantage to keep your quarterback.
They'll definitely get used to the NFL, and honestly, they got both those teams. Their front office needs to come out big next year, because if not. Yet again, they're just going to turn into one of those teams where they're just wasting picks and wasting talent.
Ah, so the Jaguars.
Yeah, the Browns.
Because Balky says, hey, let's get some of these great players, and signs a wide receiver 2 or 3 to like a 5-year, $100 million deal. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter at all.
Yeah.
Or he'll trade someone that he just signed for a 6th-round draft pick.
Right. Yeah.
Not bitter.
Yeah, that's why I picked this game. May come as a shock, but it's just more of like, hey, highlight him. He did well. He needs to hold that, and I'm hopeful for the future, but who knows?
I know this wasn't on our thing, but because we were talking about rookies for a second, Jaden Daniels put up a fight against the Ravens.
Yeah.
That's all I want to say. I'm like, he's solid.
Yeah, none of us picked that game. I was actually teetering on that one or the Pats game, but he honestly did really well.
I mean, the game
they should
that
not
I
take
picked,
that
and
loss.
It was a close game.
Yeah, they shouldn't take that loss as, oh, they're not a true 5-0 or 5-1 team. No, they played really well. It's just the Ravens are that good.
I mean, they're actually 4-2.
And I wonder.
Dang.
Yeah, and I wonder if they play again. You say you do that same matchup 2 or 3 times. Do they get them every time? Do they win?
Right.
If they play 5 times, do they win 2 out of the 5? I think they're both fairly comparable teams. They both do pretty well. They struggled to stop the run, and they lost. But I wonder if you switch that up a little bit, they're able to control that better, and suddenly, Washington comes out.
Right. Yeah. No, it was a good game.
Now, the
So-
game I picked, I'm mainly going to leave this for an open discussion kind of one, because I think this is one that everyone wanted to talk about, and I think I was just kind of
Oh,
more of
yeah.
a, okay, I'll use it as mine so that we could have the open discussion of it. We have the Lions and the Cowboys, and sheesh! The
The
Lions
best
look...
game I ever watched.
The Lions looked like they were unstoppable, and I think my favorite part of the game is because last year they should have won their playoff game, but they declare they didn't say that the lineman was eligible as a receiver, even though they did. And
Right.
towards the end, they just started throwing everything to a lineman, and it made me laugh.
Yeah.
I was like,
And
man,
it kind of showed that, like, it's like your team's that bad, we could use a lineman,
and still do well.
Right. Like, it was great. I was kind of hoping what would happen is that, in the fourth quarter, they would get every lineman a touchdown or a score of some kind,
Just imagine what would have happened if they didn't pull out half their starters and start just using linemen as receivers.
Right? Because
Ugh.
that would be an awesome headline. Lions offensive line have more TDs than,
Lions
the
offensive
entire
line has
Cowboys.
more
Wide
touchdowns than the
receivers.
Cowboys' entire offense tonight.
right?
Oh yeah, because the
Ugh.
Cowboys did not score a single touchdown that entire game.
Right.
And I think
Yep.
this is very interesting because the Cowboys last year were one of the more dominant teams and looked very good, and they seem really bad this year.
Definitely struggling.
And then on top of that, I don't know how much you guys have been paying attention to all the stuff I've been sending you, but freaking Jerry Jones needs to chill.
Gosh.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
going on a little talk show and threatening them to fire them and get him replaced because they're asking him, or what? Hey, what happened on the off season? You did nothing, and this is what you're reaping. He's like, oh, don't question me. It's like, oh no, they can question you, bro. Like, you're senile and making terrible decisions.
The owner should never be the GM.
Yeah. It's like, holy crap. Like, that's been my entertainment for the week. It's just listening to all those clips and listening to the actual podcast. And it's been hilarious. It's like, Jerry Jones, you need to go into a home. Like, you're out of control. You need to stop. And that's honestly their biggest problem. Like you said, owners should not be GMs.
Or GMs
But-
that have
Well-
full control of everything, including
Right.
the owner.
Yeah,
What a
because
sucky time to be a Cowboys fan.
Yeah,
What a great time to be a fan of America.
right. America's team, what a joke. Oh man, but it also proves that Dak Prescott, yet again, he's just like Kirk Cousins. Gets the most money, but he has the opposite reaction. He absolutely sucks. And then gets paid, he does amazing the next game, and then continues to suck. And it's like, when are you guys going to see this pattern? Like, stop. He's not your guy. He is not a franchise quarterback. So, yeah.
I'm trying to decide if I'm insulted by what you're saying about Kirko, or if I'm like, wait, am I offended? I'm not sure. I don't feel like I am, but maybe I should be.
I was thinking that same thing. I'm like, wait, is this a knot towards Tyler or?
No.
I'm gonna let that one slide regardless. We're gonna say it's okay.
But we'll never let 28-3 slide.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It's okay.
man.
I was so
was-
proud. I wore my Tyler Algier jersey this weekend, and then he killed it. It was so much fun to watch. So just gotta throw that in there. I know we probably won't talk about
There
the
is some
Falcons game,
happiness.
but oh yeah, a lot of happiness. Love that guy. It's so much fun to watch someone I watched all through college go and play for my favorite NFL team and still kill it. I know he's not their number one running back, but he does a heck of a job.
Yeah. Man, love it. But yeah,
Alright.
love the game. hilarious outcome.
Let's dive into our matchups for the week then.
Oh yeah. I'll go
Dang, you want to just keep
first.
going? Oh no, go ahead, Matt. Go ahead. You
Yeah,
roll.
might as well just follow the list. I'll just go start for the top. Get the good one
That's
out of the
okay.
way. The Vikings and Lions will be a very good game.
Holy cow! Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, is it the Vikings? Yeah, it is. Okay, I was looking at it.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
wait a second, I got it wrong. Okay.
No.
Yeah, no. So it's this game. Like I've been looking forward to it. Just how like the first couple weeks have started, because these are some two powerhouse teams, and we're gonna see what's gonna go down. I feel like both of them are still playing really well, and I think this is gonna be a light show.
I agree. Well, and I think one of the advantages that the Vikings have is once again a fantastic defense, and the Lions have a good defense too. I don't want to not give them credit, but
But
holy cow, the Vikings have been playing lights out.
yeah,
I
and
mean,
then
I feel like the Sam Darnold. I feel like Sam Darnold will fall eventually, and I feel like this may be the week that he falls.
this could be the game. But I don't. I think he's gonna keep rolling solely because Aiden Hutchinson got hurt.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big hit.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a huge blow to this upcoming game. Not saying that it killed the hype, but it kind of killed the hype.
Right. Right.
It's like, yeah, it's okay, but at the same time, that's a big hit to your defense. So
And I gotta point out, as far as the Lions go, like by no means have they had an easy schedule. And heavens above, the teams. I mean, they've had some good games where they have just. I mean, their last two, they've just blown out. Not blown out. They blew out Dallas. They they got 42 points against Seattle, which is still a solid defense. I mean, I think I'm not trying to underwhelm what they're doing, but they've also beat the Rams. They lost to Tampa Bay. They beat the Cardinals, beat Seattle, beat Dallas. I mean, it's not the most impressive record thus far, especially when you compare it to the Vikings. So, to me, I still feel like, maybe even with Hutchinson, maybe the Vikings pull this out.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I don't want to step over you, Matt. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, but I think it's gonna come down to who can outplay the defense.
Right.
Because obviously there'll be a factor, but it really comes down to, honestly, it's always like every other game, turnovers.
Right.
Both Goff and Darnold have pretty much kept the ball pretty safe. When they're coming to the throw, they both have 4 interceptions apiece, so not bad there. But that's
Especially
I'm
when
going
you
with
look at them.
right, yeah. But I think the Lions will have a little bit of an easier time. But
Right.
yeah, so my pick would be the Lions on this one. And I think probably the matchup monster for me would probably be going to be Montgomery.
Ooh.
I think if they can keep the ball moving that way and not solely depend on Goff and his arm, just chew the clock. I think that would be the big game plan. So
I think that's fair. I think that's a good bet. I've got to immediately just start in the opposition. I think we're gonna see the Vikings pull this out. I don't know. I think these are, like you mentioned, both fantastic teams. I think a lot of it will come to the turnovers. I think the Vikings have that better defense to step up and do it. But I think they're going to get the W. I'm struggling. I had picked Aaron Jones as my matchup monster. But obviously, he's is he questionable still? Is he injured?
Still
Where are we at with?
Still
Yeah, he's still
questionable.
questionable.
Okay, so, uh, you know, just for the conservative side, I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna go with Sam Darnold just to counter Shane. Just to say, you know what, Shane, this is not the game where he crumbles.
You know what? Just for that, my matchup monster, because I'm picking Lions, is going to be an offensive lineman from the Lions. I'm going to go with Penei Sewell. He will get a
You need-
touchdown.
Right. Oh man. Yeah, and
I
I think
swear.
with the whole Sam Darnold thing, everyone's just waiting for him to fail. Honestly, I don't think he's going to.
Yeah.
Really, like, yeah, he had his track record, but I feel like he's motivated.
But I mean, if Sam Darnold does this well in the Viking system, then what do they do with J.J. McCarthy?
Right? It's like, how do you possibly, if they make it into the
Cash out.
playoffs, if they make it to the Super Bowl, what are you gonna do? You know, does this become a 49ers thing where you're like, well, shoot, now we got Brock Purdy, so I guess we'll trade everyone else? Like,
It's like, do
If
you keep
they,
Sam Darnold and let McCarthy
yes,
develop, or do you keep Darnold, trade away McCarthy, or do you put McCarthy in, and if McCarthy struggles, put Darnold back in?
I think the
well,
smart thing is to keep him and
yeah,
let him cook. But will they do that?
But I mean, we saw
yeah.
what happened with Trey Lance, where he was drafted early, didn't really play at all, and then just got traded away and fell into obscurity.
And now
I
he's with
know.
the Cowboys.
Gosh.
The black hole. Oh man, yeah, but I think they'll just go back to high school, play them both. McCarthy has a little bit more mobility. You know, you could probably do some crazy stuff with that, but yeah, we'll see what the future holds. You know.
Yep. Alrighty, next up we got the London matchup part 2 with the rivalry in the podcast. This time it's my team versus Matt's team. Last week I had McKay's team and the Bears crushed the Jaguars, which now I'm hoping because we've been there an extra week we may have a little bit of an advantage, but you never know. Both these teams are 1-5. Both these teams are garbage right now, so who's
Triple
gonna be trash fight? Gosh.
Oh man.
The question is it going to be Drake May finds its footing here, or do the Jaguars rebound and possibly end up keeping Doug Peterson, Trent Baalke, and Press Taylor for the rest of the season because they won this one game?
I think that's a stretch.
I think if they lose, I think we see the end.
I think if
Yeah.
they lose, a lot of people are going to get fired and or traded away.
A few people will stay in London.
Ugh.
Like, don't get on the plane.
But if the
Go
Jaguars
buy-
win, then they're stuck with this for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know.
I'm in a
wouldn't go as far as to
lose-lose
say
here.
stuck.
Yeah.
I think it's generous to say that them beating the Patriots would be like, oh yeah, you're good now. Like we're
Yeah.
just gonna keep you. I could see them if they lose here. Let's see, who do they play after this? What's their
After
next match?
this, we play the Packers.
That's not a good one. I mean, they're probably
And then
gonna
after
lose
that
one
is the
too.
Eagles. And then after
Well,
that is the
shoot.
Vikings.
Maybe the Eagles. That's my bet. If they win this, it'll be the Eagles game when we see some firings. Because I don't think you could do it on the next one with the Packers. I think everyone knows they're a pretty good team and no one expects them
It
to win.
goes Packers, Eagles. Wow, the Jaguars got screwed on their schedule. Oh, it's bad. So here's what it looks like. It goes Patriots this week, which both teams are bad, and if the Jaguars lose, I want that number 1 pick. Then we got the Packers. Then we got the Eagles. Then the Vikings. Then the Lions. Then the
Good
Texans.
heavens. Then Tennessee, you might have a shot
Tennessee.
there.
And then the Jets and the Raiders. Yeah, like the last 4 or 5 games doable, but that middle is ugly.
Yeah.
Anyways, so the
Let's
podcast
kind of-
rivalry matchup is going to be a lot of fun for me and Matt.
Let's just say right now, the matchup predictor for Vegas says
I think Jaguars are favored, but
by a lot.
ugh.
That's
But-
insane.
All the
Let's-
analysts also were picking the Jaguars, but they said it was going
Yep.
to be a close game by like 1 or 2 points.
I can't be confident and say, yeah, Drake May's gonna come back and be lights out. He just doesn't have. He doesn't have the weapons. Like he
But he
can't
ha-
play lights out.
No.
But he has the
Like-
advantage where the Jaguars defense rotates like they're playing hockey.
Right?
Yeah.
Why are we
Yeah.
taking an interior defensive lineman and putting him as an edge rusher? And then benching
You
him
know-
the Nets play?
It was an
But-
experiment.
They
Ugh.
did get Kason. I don't know how the crap is Buttle or Butel. He came back this week.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So, and he was kind of the, rookie pick, I believe, last year.
Yeah.
He
I
has
don't
1 year
know.
under his
All I
belt,
know is
if
they're
remember
talking
right.
about if
But
ETN
he's
isn't
not-
healthy, then
Yeah, but
Bigsby
yeah.
won't even be the number 2. He'll be the number 3.
Yeah. Well, it was just funny because the headline was, "Oh, he quietly came back," and I'm like, "Yeah, because like,
That's
whoop-de-doo, Basil,
it's like that's what
congratulations."
happens when your teams are bad. Everyone quietly comes back.
Right? It's like, do you want a parade for someone? It sucks.
No one
Is
paraded
Jane
when
Bixby not the number 1 running back right now?
no ETN is,
Nope.
but ETN is questionable, and now they're promoting Ernest
Right.
Johnson as the number 2 running back.
So now he got demoted to 3rd?
Yeah, that's the rumor.
That
at
is a
least,
lack of confidence if I ever saw one.
which
Holy
I don't
cow.
understand because he's been doing good.
Yeah, he's been doing pretty good. He's definitely more of a shifty than a brawler. But, you can still do good as a shifty running back. I don't know. Maybe that's just not the way they like to play when your offensive line is trash. I don't know.
I don't know, considering that he's given us our biggest plays of the season so far.
Yeah.
Him and
yeah.
Brian Thomas Jr. are the only 2 highlights, and man, I really don't know, Matt. I normally I would do a lot of trash talking, but I feel like both of us just feel defeated by our teams. That
Yeah,
there's
it's
just
just like, yeah, we'll see what happens. It's like, hey, they scored. Woo, good job. It's like watching like your nephew play like little league football. You're like, yeah,
Pee-wee
like,
football.
you're just like, oh, cool, you
it's like,
scored.
no,
Good job, buddy.
run this way.
Right. The
Hey,
only thing I would have said Patriots all the way is if Ramondre was gonna be playing.
Right.
But he's not. I don't think. 'Cause
Is it official or is he just
He didn't-
questionable? 'Cause
he didn't
last I checked, he was
participate.
questionable.
he's questionable, but he didn't play. He didn't practice today.
Oh,
Yeah, and they
No,
gotta
I'm
get,
not
they gotta
big-
get to London soon if they're
Yeah.
not already
Yeah.
there.
So
yeah.
I don't think that's gonna happen. And then on top of that, like their defense is a walking graveyard.
Yeah.
It's bad. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys questionable,
Oh no.
3 guys out, and 3 on injury reserve.
Sheesh. That
Jeez.
So it's it's bad. So I'm confident in saying the Jaguars gonna win.
Hey, I'm confident
There
but
you
not
go.
happy.
Yeah, it's
There
like
you
one of those
go.
wins. Like, yay, we got to win, but
It's like
okay.
the Jets when Trevor Lawrence was on the draft board. It's like, oh, the Jets got Trevor Lawrence, and then the Jets won. It's like all the fans were just like, why did we win the last game of the season? That meant nothing. And I'm like, oh, cool, we got Trevor Lawrence now.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I'm like, I don't want to win at this point. Just let me lose.
Yeah.
I went to an SUU BYU game
Yikes.
and sat in the BYU like season ticket holder section because someone gave me tickets because they didn't care to go but knew I was going to SUU. I was a dot of red and a sea of blue, and literally like anytime SUU did anything, everyone just like cheered for me pretty much. Like everyone around me was like, "Hey, there you go, good job, little SUU fan." You know, like they got a touchdown that I think ended up getting called back, and everyone was like, "Just give it to them," you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
that's
was one of
brutal.
those things where it's just like, "Oh, yay." It's not pretty.
Oh. So I assume we all
Anyway.
agree on this one.
Yeah, definitely.
Do we?
Do I don't know, Tyler. Do we? Tyler's gonna be different.
I had mixed emotions on it actually.
I have no emotions on this. Just pain.
Right. Emotionless.
I'm gonna pick the Patriots.
You can't beat
Is
a
that
dead
what
horse.
And they'll
I'm
win
gonna give them the
28-3.
benefit of the doubt. I think they're gonna find a way. I couldn't tell you who in the world would possibly be a matchup monster. Maybe Drake May.
My
don't
matchup
know.
monster will be Drake May.
I'm gonna
There we
say
go.
I think this game will come down to if the Jaguars receivers can learn how to catch the ball this week, because they dropped 4 touchdowns last week against the Bears, and I think that kind of killed them, because Trevor Lawrence was throwing really good passes 95% of the game, and just you can't drop 4 touchdown passes and win a game. So the receivers need to step up, and the game's going to hinge on them.
Can agree.
That's fair.
All right, let's speed
Yeah.
through these nets 2 a little bit, and then
Okay.
we'll get to the for the
Yeah.
fun. And we'll probably do the first one because I know McKay's wanted to do it since like week 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Texans Packers. I love these games that I feel I don't want to say make or break a season, but they're the big matchups where you know that one team is going to walk away and be like, "Crap, that was kind of one of those must-win games." And I feel like for the Packers and Texans, this is going to be one of those games. I think both are fantastic teams. I think both have winning records. They need just that little bit extra. They need to prove that they can beat another, I would say A-tier team. I don't think they're
playoff
S-tier
contender.
teams. Yeah, they're playoff contenders, exactly. And so I think this is going to be exciting. I think the difference maker here is we get Joe Mixon back. But hit me with your thoughts, people. I'm excited.
I like this because I like the Texans, even though they're a division rival of mine. I think they're a good team. But I think the Texans kind of had the AFC South on lockup, so I think they can afford to lose this game. Whereas the Packers, the NFC North is brutal to go against right now, and if they want to contend, they have to win because not a single NFC North team is below 4 wins.
See, but my favorite thing to look at is once again their schedule. I love looking at schedules. Look at their 2 losses have been to the only competent teams I think they've really played. Philadelphia and Minnesota. They've gotten wins, the Packers have, but it's been to the Colts, to the Titans, to the Rams, and to the Cardinals. All teams that I would say are at best maybe C tier, probably D tier. You might have an argument that there might be a B tier in there, but I just don't think the Packers have proven themselves. I think they've gotten some wins, but I don't think it's been nearly enough. I think they need the win. I just don't think they get it.
I mean, I think this will be interesting because I feel like the Texans' wins haven't been super pretty.
No.
No.
Like they edge out the Bills. They did beat the Patriots. They barely beat the Jaguars, which yes, division rival like it. They got demolished by the Vikings, which is I think. Hold on, we're gonna be looking at that one in a second. Okay,
7-34.
7-34. I need to check something now.
31-29.
31-29 was the Packers Vikings. So Packers did have a closer game against the division rival, but it's also a division rival. The Texans barely beat the Bears, and then Texans barely beat the Colts. So I feel like the Texans win close games for the most part, but they can't separate from the pack.
Yeah.
That's fair. I accept that argument.
I'm blowing it up. I think Houston's going to handle the Packers.
I mean,
Tell
here's
us
the other
why. Tell us
argument.
why.
I have the other argument, so I'll let you go, and then I'll counter with your counter.
I think Jordan Love's gonna crap the bed this game
Okay.
in
Mm,
front of a home crowd. I think he's gonna play bad. I
really?
really do. I think he's gonna have like tons of confidence, and it's just gonna be that one mistake, and then it's just gonna cascade into a terrible game for him. And I think CJ Stroud will play really well. Yeah, you don't got Nico Collins, but I feel like he will. I think they'll have a good game. You know,
Mm,
I'll give you that. I think the Texans definitely have like the better playmakers. But I think the other thing we need to look at is the Packers also were missing Jordan Love for a little bit this season, so he's
Right.
starting to get back into his rhythm. And man, I think it's gonna be a good game. This is one I'm happy for.
yeah. Either way, it'll be fun to watch. I'm hoping.
right.
I'm hoping. I think
Yeah,
there is a
hopefully
chance.
it's a good game.
I think there's a chance that Houston does leave them in the dust, but I think most likely it'll be a pretty good game.
Yeah. So my pick is the
Okay,
Texans.
so yeah, Texans. I
And
don't. Yeah, I'm Joe Mixon for me for matchup monster.
Mixon,
Sorry, Matt, I'm talking
100%.
over you.
No, Hunter, you already said it. He's my matchup monster. So
You know, I'm gonna go with Jordan Love to counter all the slander of him. And I'm gonna say the Packers get it.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
controversy.
No, you don't. Deshaun Watson is a prime example of that.
That's funny.
All right.
So are we talking rookie roundup? Is that what
Rookie
we're?
roundup.
Rookie roundup.
All right.
So, the little topic discussion that McKay has been dying to talk about, and I think we can rub it in his face that he missed out on this one. He'll probably want to talk a little bit about it next week, but that's what he gets for having to do work and having to do it during podcasts, blah, blah, blah. It's not his fault.
Yep.
The big thing...
This is the most important work we could do.
Yes. Facts.
How are the current rookies of the NFL faring into Week 7? Who is the best rookie at this point? And where do the quarterbacks, which is often most scrutinized of all the rookies, stand? So, let's kick it
Jaden
off.
Daniels.
Let's kick it off with the
No,
rookie
no,
quarterback.
it's not even a discussion. It's not even a
No.
discussion. Jaden Daniels, 100%.
Jaden Daniels
Amen.
is last year's CJ Stroud.
Yeah, no. There's more debate in other guys, I believe, but no, it's 100% quarterback. It's Jaden Daniels. He's
All right.
been playing awesome.
Then let's break down some of the other rookie quarterbacks. And so we got Bo Nix. How do we feel like Bo Nix has been doing?
Well, I think better than Bo Nix is Michael Penix Jr. I think obviously he's done better.
Yeah,
I think he's been riding that
100%.
bench with
Yep.
glory and fame, and you know what? To me, an obvious second for who's doing the best this year.
You know, Michael
0
Penix is going to be the
interceptions.
next Jordan Love.
He's getting used to that pine in between his legs, you know.
Yeah, that's what it is.
He has learned how to hold the clipboard better than anyone.
Yep.
Honestly, I think it's such a better spot. I talk about this with a couple friends all the time. I think there is nothing worse. You know, and every once in a while you see Jaden Daniels, you see a Stroud, but I think for the most part you see these quarterbacks come right out of college, get thrown in the NFL, and fail. And they fail because they're just not ready to play at an NFL level. And I don't think it's per se too hard. I just think it's a little earth shattering. These guys play at such a high level and with only 32 teams. Like,
I think the other thing is finding the right team as well, because some rookie quarterbacks struggle with one team but thrive on another team. Look at Justin Fields. Him and the Bears did not mix very well, but he went to the Steelers, and I am still angry about this. He led them to a 4-2 record, and now he's being benched for Russell Wilson, which makes no sense for me, because he's been doing good.
So good.
Right.
I feel like they just need to prove to their fans that, hey, we didn't just make this stupid trade for no reason. look, we're actually going to play him at least 2 games, then we'll pull him and put Justin back in.
That's a good point. Another one, Sam Darnold was drafted forever ago, did not pan out, was backup quarterback, went to the Vikings, and he's now leading them to a 6-0 record.
Yep.
Okay, but I want everyone's opinion on Bo Nix, because I think Bo Nix is an interesting quarterback to watch.
I like him, but I feel like he's a mid-tier quarterback, not elite, but not bad.
And I feel like part of that might be the Justin issue. I think maybe it might be the program he's in. It feels, now this is just me from watching just a few of the Broncos games. It feels like when he gets free to do what he wants to do, he seems to ball out. Like when he can, really play the way he wants to, he does well. But then most of the time, it seems like he's not. It seems like he's restricted. He's handing off. He's doing these different things, which makes him seem like just a B, maybe C. Not B. Probably just a C tier quarterback. When he's had these moments of, hey, this boy can play pretty well. And so I wonder, is it the program? Is he inconsistent? I don't know.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think he's got to be. How do you phrase this? He needs to build up as a quarterback. Like, he has great raw talent. He is great the way he is, but you need to mold him into a great quarterback. Like, he's a good quarterback right now, but I feel like the Broncos need to mold him properly. And I feel like if they do, he'll be around for a while. Like, he would 100% be a franchise quarterback. You can build a team around him. And he has another thing that he has too that I kind of like is that he has a little bit of a fight in him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He has like a little bit of that, fire in him at all times. That is good. Especially when, like, that's also a good, like, attribute to have, because if he all of a sudden has a really bad game, he's going to come back. Like, he's not going to let it get to him. He's going to freaking hold himself accountable, get that fire going, and then play better.
So, we saw that this last weekend.
Yeah.
We saw the Broncos start to make that comeback. They didn't have enough time, and they had some funky calls that maybe lost the game for them, but it was a shot at it. It was a chance to maybe come back and make something happen.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the one quarterback that we haven't talked about that's a rookie, and that was the number 1 overall pick, Caleb Williams, which I will wish McKay was here so we could talk about that.
Give your farting emoji or your farting thing real quick.
Hold on.
Good. There you go. That's what I think about Caleb Williams.
Really?
Yes, he's doing good right now. You wait. When it becomes game time where they need to win, he will fall apart. He did it for 3 years with USC. He always started out good. And then he craps the bed. And then he cries like a baby in his mom's arms. National television.
Don't worry, he'll go get his nails done after.
He is weak when things don't go his way.
I think I agree with you in the sense of I feel like with that many offensive weapons that the Bears acquired, he should be doing better than what he is doing. Given the Bears do have a bad offensive line, but I feel like Jaden Daniels is on a worse overall team and is doing leaps and bounds better than Caleb Williams.
Well, the thing is with Williams, it's not that hard to get the ball out fast if your line sucks, especially with the weapons you have. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you put it on his shoulders, yeah, it's gonna fall right off.
Right. Right. And I mean, I don't know if any of you have looked at the second half of his schedule coming up. It is gonna be a wake up call.
Rough.
Like,
yeah,
we're talking Packers, Vikings, Lions, 49ers, Vikings, Lions, Seahawks, Packers. Like, some of the toughest, I think, games from some of the toughest teams. It'll be, it might be a little earth shattering to to lose the last, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. Maybe they pull off one. I see them losing 8. I don't know. Sorry, sorry, McKay. I don't know, but
I'm strictly going off his track record. I don't think he's done enough to prove me wrong. That's
Yeah.
my biggest thing. It's like, okay, yeah, he's being just like he has always been throughout college. Like, yeah, he's playing well. Like, he's doing great. But big game time, he'll fall apart. So,
Okay.
right,
Now,
right.
go ahead.
Can we? Oh, I was just gonna say, can we also just Brock Bowers? Because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
talk about a tight end coming in and actually living up to their reputation, unlike certain other tight ends that came in with big
How does that make you
expectations.
feel, Tyler?
I don't know why, but this whole podcast just—I don't even know why I'm here. Like, I joined a podcast that primarily just makes fun of the Falcons, and it's just
well,
it's hard.
Well, we need the Falcons
maybe
fans
you should
here.
make it less easy.
They
They need to make more of an
might be part
effort
of it.
to not make it easy.
Maybe the Falcons just don't need to blow very big games.
But that's not the only thing. If that was it, I could be like, you know what, we're good, let's move on. But it always seems to be something new. Anyway, Brock Bowers, I think, is balled out. He's on a terrible team, maybe one of the only good weapons on the team,
Well,
but
now,
it's still done
now
fantastic.
that Adams is gone, yeah.
Yeah, especially now that Adams is gone. And let's be honest, how hard was Adams trying while he was
Not at all,
there?
considering that he had an injury for the past 3 weeks, but now he's perfectly healthy.
Exactly. Right.
Hate when players do that.
Right.
Let's talk about some
But
of the
Tom
other.
Mann done really well.
So Matt, who is your non-quarterback rookie highlight?
Oh yay.
Because I'm torn between two.
Well, it's funny because the two that I'm kind of is Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr.
Really, you pick Harrison?
Because it's like he is that elite talent when he gets the ball.
Right.
Murray doesn't throw to him for whatever reason, and now he's hurt. So it's like, and then same thing with Malik Neighbors. Like, you have a absolute trash can of a quarterback, and yet you can still ball out.
Right.
Like, Neighbors honestly
is maybe a bit harsh, but
you're right. He is playing better than Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. So the trash can's Mahomes. My bad. So
he's a slightly cleaner trash can.
Right.
I'm glad.
It has a little bit more glaze on Patrick Mahomes' trash can than.
Gosh. I am glad you said Malik Neighbors because he was one of my two, which leaves the other one open for me, which is my guy, Brian Thomas Jr. And the reason I have him up there as my pick for non-quarterback is he leads all rookie wide receivers for the most receiving yards with 424, whereas Neighbors comes in with 386. Surprisingly, I mean, I don't blame Harrison for this. Harrison only has 279 yards receiving so far.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the two ones that have been the flashiest of the non-quarterbacks might be Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors. Surprisingly, Brock Bowers is in third with 384 receiving yards, so he's only 2 yards behind Neighbors, which is phenomenal.
As a tight end.
Which is baffling. Man,
well,
see what happens when you guys use your tight end. Tyler's in pain because he just knows Kyle Pitts is just chaining everyone down.
I wish he would. The struggle is he's not a great blocker. So if we're not going to throw to him, I mean, why have him out there?
He's a vertical threat. Might as well just put him in the slot. Stop pretending that he's a tight end.
I mean, that's kind of what the Jaguars do with Evan Ingram. He can't really block that much, so they mainly only throw him for receiving plays.
Yep.
It's not often you get the hybrid one. But anyways, I think that might conclude this week's episode.
I will mention one thing.
Oh,
There
boy.
is no segment for the conspiracy theory because the Chiefs had a bye week.
But next week, the conspiracy theories return.
Oh, it continues 100%.
What if the Chiefs lose next week by a questionable call? What will happen to the conspiracy theories?
That's hilarious because it's not going to happen.
I mean, it's against the 49ers.
There's no way it's going to happen. It's going to be a close game, and then all of a sudden, they'll edge out the win. Oh, look, they're 6-0. Yeah, you watch. You watch. It'll be a turnover on downs that's a flag against the Niners that puts it from 3rd and long to 3rd and impossible. And then, or it'll be some BS interception that gets called back or called for. It'll be something. You watch.
So are you picking them then to still win? Is that your official vote?
Oh, they're 100% going to win because
Gosh.
they have to go undefeated this year and have a three-peat and have the amazing proposal of Travis Kelce to Taylor Swift during the Super Bowl. It's got to
boy.
happen. Tons of money right there.
Oh, gosh. Okay, we're going to end this before we start going into the NFL is rigged and the scripted rant.
Yep. We'll save that for later.
Alrighty. Have a good